This is Hannibal from the HannibalTV.com with your daily combat sports news update. I'm sorry to report this news. My friend, WWE Hall of Famer, former world champion, superstar Billy Graham, he's got a son and a daughter. His daughter, Capella, unfortunately has been confirmed for being positive for the coronavirus. She's 47 years old. She lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. Her husband is a paramedic. He's 49 years old. He passed it to her. They do have kids, his grandchildren. They have not caught it yet, so hopefully they won't. I believe Billy Graham is the first known professional wrestler in the world to have a family member come out publicly and say they're positive for the disease. We did hear of a Mexican independent wrestler that passed away about a week or so ago, allegedly from the disease, but it was never confirmed that he had the disease, and it was not a guy that looked to be in that good shape. And we know the healthcare system in Mexico isn't what it is in the United States. So prayers for Billy Graham's daughter. Haven't met her yet. Hope to meet her one day, but I hope she recovers. But as I've said a million times, superstar Billy Graham has outlived so many wrestlers. He is such a survivor. He's defeated so many health obstacles. So if she has Billy Graham's genes in her, I think her chances of recovery are going to be pretty good. But I know she's suffering a lot of rough symptoms right now. So let's pray that she gets better. And at least Billy Graham, who would be in serious trouble if he caught it, with all of his health issues, is still clear of it. And one last thing, a couple of people said in comments the other day that someone was making fun of Billy Graham for talking about the Ultimate Warrior steroid use. And it's funny because Billy Graham has outlived the Ultimate Warrior by like 20 years, and Billy Graham is almost at the same age that Bruno Sammartino was when he passed away. And Bruno supposedly lived a clean life. And Billy was not a drug user, was not a drinker. But I shouldn't say he wasn't a drug user. I know he used speed. Back in the days where you could get speed from a doctor, and he used steroids heavily. But as far as like cocaine and marijuana, if you want to consider marijuana a drug, it's legal here in Canada. But he was mainly a steroid user. Congratulations to Rick Steiner's son, who has supposedly been signed by the Baltimore Ravens, according to ESPN. So Rick Steiner's son is going to the NFL. That's pretty cool. Doesn't look good on the surface for Velvateen Dream, according to Dave Meltzer. Initially, the reports have come out that I guess he was sending inappropriate messages to underage teens. Let's hope that for his sake, WWE doesn't react like they did to Enzo and release him right away, because Enzo ended up being innocent. But that's not good for Velveteen Dream. Never seen him wrestle. I know he wrestles for NXT. Dave Meltzer also told a story on the Wrestling Observer Radio this weekend that Howard Finkel, who unfortunately passed away, never got a 25-year anniversary celebration, by the way, like Triple H did, even though Triple H is married into the McMahon family, so it really doesn't mean anything if you're with the company or not. But I guess JBL bullied Howard Finkel in the early 2000s, just after WWE bought WCW. I guess Howard Finkel was still acting as a ring announcer, according to what Meltzer said on house shows. And they asked Howard Finkel to do a spot where he was supposed to be slapped by a WWE female. Howard Finkel flinched. So I guess JBL brought him to wrestler's court behind the scenes, and I guess they made him take another slap from a female in this wrestling court, and he flinched again. So the whole scene was very humiliating for him, and according to reports, he was almost brought to tears. So there's a good example of how WWE treats some of their employees who are not related to Vince McMahon. Jerry Lawler, I guess, addressed on his podcast, he made a comment he called a move on a recent WWE telecast, a Roman noodle moonsault. It was an Asian performer. She did a move. He had everyone calling him racist. He explained on his podcast that he didn't mean anything racist by it. He didn't know the name of the move. He improvised. He didn't think anything of it. I think the world today is way, way, way overly sensitive. He's 70 years old. I mean, people are just crazy sensitive these days. They eat a lot of poutine where I'm from. Now, if I did a moonsault and Jerry Lawler didn't know the name and they said, that's Hannibal doing a poutine moonsault, I wouldn't say he's racist against Canadians. I would say that's just a stupid joke. Like, people that think that's racist, I'm sorry. I don't want to be friends with anyone like that. Meltzer also discussed recently that Bret Hart has always never really been fully away from the WWE. I mean, he was away during the time he went to WCW for $2.5 million a year. Then he came back to WWE in 2005, went into the Hall of Fame. They released a bunch of DVDs and stuff with him. He made various appearances from 2005 to 2007. He feuded with Vince McMahon, had a WrestleMania match with Vince McMahon, WrestleMania 26. He was the Raw general manager in 2009. 2010, he won the United States Championship from The Miz in 2010, made sporadic appearances in the WWE from 2011 on, including getting inducted for the second time into the WWE Hall of Fame last year when he was attacked during that. So the point of this is to say, for a guy that complains so much about how bad WWE screwed him, he's never really been away from WWE. He always comes back for the paydays. And Jacques Rougeau told a story in my recent interview with him. He bitched and complained when, even though Jacques Rougeau, as the fabulous Rougeau brothers and even the Quebecers put him over countless times, he did not want to lose to Jacques Rougeau without saying that he had 103 or 104 degree fever. So that's just the kind of whiny motherfucker Bret Hart is. Just a complete whiner, bitcher. Your average person won't even make $2.5 million in their lifetime. You had a year in WCW, and you had quite a long run in WWE prior to that. So sick of him whining. I'll answer some of your questions, but I'm not going to go into them too much because I'm going to do another video tonight. I found the list of the top 10 highest paid wrestlers in the WWE of 2020. You guys like when I do these videos about wrestlers' pay, so I'm going to do another one right after this. Cyrus747 says he loves my old school comment. Levi Clark says prayers to superstar. Dave Show, how am I? Well, I'm really, really, really missing the gym, but otherwise I'm all right. Gizmo TOGTG says, please don't be true about Billy Graham's daughter. David Marshall says, never do drugs, it's deadly. Dave Show says, Howard Finkel was awesomely awesome. Cyrus747, RIP Fink. Vince, literally a mafia boss, just like Trump. Joe Cardwell says. Colonel Quayle, soy boys calling racist. Victor Marcicio says JBL needed a session in the ring with a pissed off Brock. Well, ultimately, Joey Styles knocked him out. So Joey Styles. Oh, I'd love to interview Joey Styles, by the way, if anyone has his contact information. Mario Alexander says Triple H blew Vince. Really good to get where he got. Yeah, he's the only, actually, Triple H, I think, is the greatest politician in the history of the wrestling business. Second is DDP, and I do like DDP. And for the people that were asking me why I said Triple H was a dick when I met him, I didn't really have too much personal interaction with him other than meeting him at events. And he just, if you could imagine meeting Triple H when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley, doing that gimmick, kind of looking down on you, like, sorry, I'll shake your hand, I don't really care, with that big, long nose of his. Like, he just comes off as like a bit of a dick. And in the days that I met him, he was lower on the totem pole than he is now. I haven't met him personally in over 10 years. So, yeah. I can't say much more than that's just the sense I got from him. Tito Santana interview. I have a short one with him up here, maybe a full one day. Gordo Scarface says John Cena sacrificed to Vince as well. Sean Moynihan says superstar Billy Graham stated the British Bulldogs were notorious for drugging people's drinks. He cites a ride from hell when the Ultimate Warrior was driving under the influence. Well, yes, the British Bulldogs were notorious for drugging people's drinks, both in the WWE and in Stampede Wrestling and other places. By the way, I'm going to post probably tomorrow my compilation video on the Dynamite Kid. Natural Butch Reed interview. Someone's asking. There is. I did one last year. Look it up. Butch Reed interview, full shoot. The Hannibal TV. I have it on here. Mark Dark Shadow says Joey Styles versus JBL rematch. That would be hilarious. Sam Lentz says, I honestly thought Stephanie McMahon is still very bangable. Isban Arroyo says interview Kamala, see if he's okay now. Well, the border is closed between the U.S. and Canada. I know for a fact he lives out in the country. He has a very poor cell phone feed because I tried to do a live stream while I was at his place and it failed miserably. So if I go back to the Tennessee area, which I probably will sooner than later, because there's a bunch of people I want to interview in that area, I will interview Kamala again. Colonel Quayle, don't give up on wrestling contracts. Got some good runs in you. I'm actually doing way better as a reporter than I was a wrestler. So I'm quite happy with this. Someone else told me that recently, and it's like, why? I'm an MMA fan. I'm too old to be like an MMA champion ever. I would have an MMA fight, but to get back in the wrestling ring, really have no interest. Mario Alexander, Devon, keep the great content going. Thank you very, very much. Please ask Kamala about his run with Andre the Giant. Daniel Cooper said, look up my interview with Kamala. Kamala, the Hannibal TV full shoot interview. It's on here. Unfortunately, and this is a horrible, horrible thing, when I was there, he lives in a trailer, okay? It's a nice trailer on a nice property, but it's a trailer. It was very hot. He only had a fucking air conditioner in the window. And you can actually see him shaking, like, in the video. He's not in good health. So we could not turn the air conditioner off. So there is an air conditioner sound in the background. Unfortunately, I'm really, really, really regretful of that. But there is a full Kamala interview